Welcome back to Liquid Lunch. I am Maggie Vandenberg, filling in today for John Tobacco, who's over at Newsmax. And yes, I'm very excited to announce that we are back with Todd Bensman, who was here with us earlier talking about border security. And he actually has a new book coming out that I wanted to make everyone aware of. The book is called America's Covert Border War, and it is coming out in February. And this book is all about the kinds of things that I'm really interested in, and that I think that the American people need to be made aware of just the security issue of open borders and what that means for the future of America. Over the break, I was speaking with Todd a little bit about my experiences down at the border wall, and how crazy it is when you really speak with people whose lives have been impacted by illegal immigration. I'm friends now with a couple different angel parents, and it's tragic and heartbreaking to speak with them. These are people who have lost their children to, either violent gang members or drunk drivers, people who were here illegally. And oftentimes these are people who have been deported multiple times and have come back to America, people that should not have even been in America in the first place, yet have committed multiple crimes, have a long criminal record, and yet whose actions lead to the loss of life of American citizens. And beyond that, though, there's a larger issue where we could potentially see people that are terrorists coming into our country. These aren't just people that are coming here, quote unquote, for a better life, as is so often told to us by, the mainstream media on the left. So I wanted to bring Todd back to sort of tell us about his upcoming book and sort of touch on these issues and make Americans aware of the real impact that we could see in an open border society. So Todd, if you just want to take it and run with it, I would love to hear more of your thoughts on this.
Sure. I think a lot of Americans would probably be very surprised to know that every year, thousands of migrants show up uninvited, unannounced, and unidentified at the U.S. southern border from countries that are rife with terrorist organizations and jihadist ideology. People from the Middle East, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, people from North Africa, Somalia, Eritrea, countries in South Asia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, who come over in enough numbers that the U.S. Homeland Security, national security establishment has over the years stood up significant programs to detect, deter, and find terrorists among them who have been coming over. And
let me pause you real quick. So you're telling me that this isn't just a fringe thing, because I remember last year hearing about, 4 ISIS fighters were identified trying to sneak across our southern border. So you're telling me that it's actually that common that we have thousands of people coming from not just Central America and Mexico, but people coming from these countries all over the world. And it's such a known thing, and they're sneaking across our southern border. Why? I'm sorry, I'm like a bit shocked, but how is it that they're coming through Mexico and then going untraced into the United States? Is it that well known of a thing that don't come through Canada, don't come through other ways, don't come through legally?
The reason why the broader general public is unaware of this flow, of this migrant flow, which is a smaller flow than Mexicans or Central Americans, is because the traditional media, the mainstream media establishment, flat out denies that it's happening. Every time the prospect that this comes up, prayer rugs or whatever, there are big fact check news stories that come out that deny it and say it's not true, but it absolutely is true, and it's so true that 15 years ago, the national security establishment stood up very specific programs to stop it. So for an imaginary program, for an imaginary problem, you have actually real Homeland Security programs that are at the border, the physical land border, designed to detect and identify people who might potentially be terrorists. And you have a whole other complementary program throughout Latin America, all the way from the Mexican border to the tip of Latin America, of South America, that are designed to interdict terrorists coming, to identify those terrorists, and also to disrupt the long haul smuggling networks that bring them into South America and then up through the to the southern border. These are real programs. They have never been comprehensively reported until now. My book lays out in very graphic detail what the American Homeland Security enterprise is doing, has been doing with regard to this. And one of the conclusions in the book, thesis of mine, is that it was this Homeland Security enterprise, these programs, that have actually stopped terror attacks from happening inside the United States. They have caught actual jihadists en route to the border and at the border, and we've been very lucky. And my book also talks about problems with the programs, because they are victims of neglect, denialism. People don't even acknowledge that they're there, that they're happening. There are people that are working day and night for years and years on these threat problems. I personally worked in the intelligence world on that problem, so I know about it, and I kind of talk about what I know to the extent that it's not classified, that I can talk about it in the book. And I lay out exactly what the American Homeland Security enterprise is doing down there. And I think Americans will find this very surprising. But the main takeaway to me is that if that migrant flow is imaginary, then why do we have a national security enterprise working on the project day and night in all of these different countries? It's because it's not imaginary, it's real. And I describe all of that in the book.
Amazing. Todd, how can people purchase the book, and how can they find you? We've got about 20 seconds left.
Right. It's on Amazon, America's Covert Border War. It looks like that right behind me there. And you can find all of my writing EIS.org, Center for Immigration Studies, or toddbensman.com.
toddbensman.com or Center for Immigration Studies, CIS.org, correct?
Yeah, they're my employer.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Todd, and thank you for the work that you do. Always interesting to speak with people who actually understand what is happening at our southern border and the implication that it has for the American people. So thank you so much for coming on and being with us. And we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to have a great second hour coming up very soon here on Liquid Lunch. You're not going to want to miss it.